Pahrump's most watched and #1 media source for local news and weather with Deanna O'Donnell.
Welcome to News 46's Week in Review, your #1 source for local news. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Jason Koblentz. An SUV carrying a family of 4 rolled over in the desert just inside the California border on Highway 178 Thursday morning.
Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue, Nevada Highway Patrol, California Highway Patrol, Inyo County, as well as Nye County Sheriffs all responded to a single vehicle rollover just over the California line this morning. We're going to speak to Fire Chief Scott Lewis.
So we were dispatched for a report of a one-vehicle rollover with injuries, approximately 4 miles over the state line. Upon arrival, in fact, we did find such an accident with 4 total occupants that had been injured in the accident. We did a quick assessment, and we determined that at least 2 of them had to go by flight, so we summoned the request for Mercy Air, who brought airships 21 and 7 over from Vegas. And 2 of the patients, those smaller ones, were transported to the local hospital here in Pahrump, and the other 2 went to trauma.
And possible ejections?
You know, there was some confusion as to exactly what had happened, but we assumed through the observations and assessments that maybe 1, if not both of them, had been ejected, the adults.
Nevada Highway Patrol arrived on scene, but California Highway Patrol is actually taking over the scene there.
Yeah, CHP has jurisdiction, and just as Inyo did when they eventually arrived, they were given jurisdiction of the call as well. But we were, as the primary response agencies or the first responders on scene, we assumed command and brought the airships in, managed patient care, did everything we needed to do until both California Highway Patrol arrived, as well as the Southern Inyo Fire Protection.
And Southern Inyo Fire Protection also, did they actually take any part of the rescue efforts there?
Actually, when they arrived, they were given the control of the vehicle. We already had patient care issues squared away, and they came in and took over the scene.
Nye County Sheriffs received this call and had to go out and search because the people that originally reported this were not quite sure of the location.
Yeah, it was originally reported in the area of possibly mile marker 47, which would have been 10 miles further west. This accident was actually around mile marker 57, so it wasn't that far over the state line. It allowed us to get there in a timely fashion.
Once again, that was a family that rolled their vehicle just over the California border. It did have a Nevada license plate on the vehicle. It was a mother, father, both possibly ejected, an 11-year-old child and a approximately 5-month-old child, which both of the children were in their child safety seats, the car seat, and as well the other child was restrained. Both parents possibly both not wearing their seat belts. California Highway Patrol is investigating this accident. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. California Highway Patrol Public Information Officer Dennis Cleland has told News 46 that there is evidence of criminal behavior regarding Thursday's rollover inside the California desert. The accident occurred around 10 a.m. yesterday morning on Highway 178, which is an extension of Highway 372. 2 adults were unrestrained and possibly ejected from the SUV. 2 children, an 11-year-old and a 5-month-old, were also in the vehicle but were wearing seatbelts and only sustained minor injuries. The driver is suspected of being under the influence of drugs, according to California Highway Patrol. Both adults were airlifted to UMC Trauma Center in Las Vegas, suffering major injuries. The male suffered severe head trauma. Their physical condition is unknown at this time. The children were transported to Desert View Hospital. No names will be released at this time, pending the criminal investigation. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
A rollover accident occurred Wednesday night on North Highway 160 in the town of Johnny.
We are just north of Johnny on State Route 160.
And this vehicle reportedly had a flat tire?
That is correct. That is what appears to be happening at this moment right now. It appears that the vehicle was traveling into Pahrump and she experienced some kind of tire failure on her tire on the back. Right now it's unknown which tire was left or right. And, unfortunately she, was not able to maintain control of the vehicle and lost control and went off the roadway.
How many occupants in the vehicle?
It appears there was a driver with 2 occupants on there, and it does appear that they all were wearing seatbelts.
And any injuries?
None at this point. From what I gathered, that all the occupants refused medical attention when they arrived on scene, when medical arrived on scene.
We have the ranger here as well.
That is correct.
They checked out the victim and they declined to be transported?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Does it seem to be a loss of control after the blowout?
Right now it does appear to be so right now, but unfortunately right now everything's still early in the investigation.
And a blood sample was ordered for a man who was airlifted from a scene of an accident on Wilson Wednesday night. He sustained injuries after his vehicle reportedly rolled 10 times. We're here at Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue. We're going to speak to Fire Chief Scott Lewis about a single vehicle rollover which occurred on Wilson and David yesterday.
Late afternoon, around the dinner hour, we had a report of a one-vehicle rollover, and it was originally reported to be a person entrapped in the vehicle with at least 10 rotations during the overturning mechanism of that vehicle. Upon arrival, we did in fact find a vehicle well off the roadway through several perimeter fences and laying in a yard. It was an upright position. We had determined that the driver was entrapped in the vehicle. There was no other occupants. Engine 1, our rescue engine came in. Their primary objective was extrication of that person, and then the medic team was given their objective of patient care.
Were we going to originally do a roof removal? Did we need to do that?
Well, what happened is we were preparing for a roof removal due to the nature of the injuries, and we found that by doing a complete door removal, it gave us the access we needed in a more timely fashion. So that was our objective change as far as the overall timeline. We also brought Mercy Air into the scene, who landed on Wilson Road. Patient care was transferred to them, and they took that patient directly to trauma.
And also a pole went through the vehicle all the way through to the back seat.
There was a number of fencing pieces that were compromised as a result of the mechanism, the rollover mechanism, and so when it went through several perimeter fences, some of that fencing then was part of that equation going through the vehicle.
And that's the only occupant? Do they appear to be seat belted in? Do you know?
I don't know, because there was a lot of bystanders around that vehicle upon arrival, and it was difficult to ascertain that information from the patient. So that's part of the ongoing investigation by the Sheriff's Office.
And that patient was also airlifted to UMC Trauma Center?
Yes. Air 21 was brought into the scene, patient care was transferred to them, and they took that patient to trauma.
High school students assembled near a coffin in the school cafeteria last Friday for the Every 15-Minute program. The mock vehicle collision, which occurred near the school the day before, showed the realistic results of driving while impaired. The assembly brought home the idea to the hundreds who viewed graphic collision photos and heard true stories of lives tragically lost.
We're basically trying to teach kids the consequences of drinking and driving. So the presentation showed consequences that have happened in the past to all sorts of people. We had a guest speaker, Sandy Heverly, come out from Vegas.
18 years old and already accrued 2 prior DUIs. He was driving on a suspended license. He was speeding at 65 in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. He ran the stop sign and crashed into our truck and camper.
And she showed us pictures and shared stories about people who have been affected by drinking and driving, and it was really emotional.
Yeah.
And I think the message got out to them, though. Everyone paid attention and listened really well.
We had how many students, or was this just 11th and 12th grade?
Yeah, it was just 11th and 12th grade. We probably had around 500 students in here and parents that joined the kids that we chose to be part of the program. And so I'm just happy it all got out to the community.
Sandy spoke about her own personal experience as well.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest reason why she does all of these presentations, is that it has affected her in her life, so she wants to get the message out and help prevent other incidents happening to innocent people like the one that happened to her.
You also did your own presentation from, I think it was the PACE program of the Don't Text and Drive.
Yeah, we decided to put that in the video because in the presentation today, because texting and driving is also starting to become one of those really big things that have been going on, and there's just been a lot of accidents lately because of it. So we also want to get the word out with the drinking and driving to just tell everyone how serious it can be.
And we'll be right back after this break with more of News 46 Week in Review. Don't go anywhere.